Hey, Derek from ForeGolf Custom here. This is where custom fitting meets club reviews. So it's all the information around settings, shafts, heads, all the good stuff, and all the stuff that you can use to find the best driver for you. Today we're looking at Cobra's LTDx driver. Comes in a different range of heads. There's an LS version, there's a max version, there's a standard version, and there's also even a ladies one. It comes in different lofts as well, so it goes 9, 10.5, and 12, and split across the different heads. We're going to skip past all the kind of, technical stuff and bits and pieces that you hear everywhere else, and we're going to get straight to why we think that this could be the best fitters driver in the market right now. So Dave, tell me, why do you love this Cobra driver so much?
I think primarily as a fitter, when you're trying to fit first and foremost, but primarily fine tune, that small refinement can sometimes make the biggest difference. So the fact that the driver has adjustable weights, it's got a really good hosel, you can open and close the settings. Certainly this is the max driver that I've got in my hand, you've got a big draw weight, which tends to help a lot of amateur golfers with an outside swing plane. It can also go into the back position as well. So you've just got lots and lots of fine tuning elements to get the driver perfect for the client.
I think that's really important to note as well. So all the different parts that we use to adjust the club to suit the different types of players is really important. Bit of backstory. So Cobra obviously look after DeChambeau and one of the long drive guys as well. So they're kind of dialed into speed and how do they manage speed. So the LS driver that comes in this range is really good at managing spin. The LS stands for low spin, it's keeping things low. But this driver launches, it does get the ball into the air and it feels incredibly good off the face. So Dave, tell me, what are the top 3 things that you like across the range of the LTDx driver?
The LS, the low spin, that front weight in the head, really, really good if you have a high launch and a high spin rate. All the energy forward, all the energy moving forward, not back weighted and traditionally getting the thing up in the air. In the max, that draw weight is brilliant. It's really far forward. It's really at the extremity of the driver. It produces good head rotation through the ball for anybody who would cut it, which, let's be honest, is a good percentage of the amateur marketplace. And then I think you have, across the range, you have massive variables in launch between the front-weighted LS, which can go all the way down to 7.5 with a front weight into it, all the way up to the ladies max at 13.5 degrees. Now all these variants are in principle low spin, even though the ones that launch. So primarily you have to set the loft up depending on how to get the ball in the air.
Let's stay in that vein. So this is really important, folks, when you're watching at home, you're thinking about buying this driver. The loft is really important when you're dealing with a low spin characteristic. So let me just explain that a little bit deeper. So with all the carbon fiber in this driver, it means that all the weight pretty much is in the front end and in a little bit in the bottom end. So that means that they can lower the center of gravity and move weight where they want it within the club head to try and control the spin. As a result, this product is incredibly low spinning right across the range. So no matter what driver you buy, it's pretty much going to spin low. That means you need to make sure that you look at the right loft. Okay, so Dave, theoretically or typically in the range that we've seen from all the different brands, low spin is a big characteristic. So when we tested, the Stealth from TaylorMade, there was a low spin characteristic there, and then we had to work with the loft. Is loft still as important with this driver?
I think it's maybe important when you consider what you want the driver to do. So primarily if you want a low spinning front weighted driver because you hit it hard on the up, then you need low loft with front weight. So the 9 in the LS becomes the predominant option in it. But when you need to get the ball up in the air, as in the max, you primarily need to keep loft on it. Because certainly if you've got the draw weight, which is quite far forward in the head, you need to then ensure that something's going to get the ball up in the air.
So you're using loft to do that? So
you're using a loft. So the 10.5 max again becomes the dominant variant in that model. Okay,
cool. So let's break it down then a little bit quickly so that we can give this information out there. So let's go with LTDx LS, the low spin driver.
Yeah.
Who's this for? And maybe let's get a swing speed guide here. So if you're out practicing, you've got your launch monitors, you can use the personal ones, or if you go to a range where there's Topgolf or one of these kind of range, TrackMan range, you'll be able to get your swing speed. Tell me what range swing speed these people need to be looking at. So let's go with LS first.
So LS, again, just to recap, predominantly 9 degree head as a starting point. Keep the spin off it. Now, the two weights are quite close together, so it's not necessarily It's more if you fade it or draw it as opposed to hook it or slice it.
So minimum.
So little soft draw, little soft fade, but quite neutral in its design. And then from a ball speeds perspective or a club head speeds perspective, something above 100, 105 is a really good starting point for this driver.
Perfect. So then if we drop into the max head then, what's the type of golfer or strike, I guess, and swing speed?
Again, a little bit lower in the club head speed, probably somewhere 95 to 105 to give you a range. You've got all that adjustability and you can really move the centre of gravity around. It works across of a massive amount of speed, because if you cut it at high speed, you still want a big weight in the heel, and very, very good if you've got a big high slice, because you've got a big, heavy 10-gram weight you can put right in the extremity of the heel, and it gets really, really good rotation through the ball.
Got you. And then the LTD, the X, I guess the normal driver, if you want to call it that, where does that fit in?
This one has a much wider play in terms of speed-wise. Very, very good. Again, you tend to need loft on it. It's just got one fixed back weight. Again, predominantly 10.5, gets the ball up in the air, very, very stable. Again, not necessarily if you've got big slices and big hooks going on, but if you're relatively straight and you just need to take a bit of spin and you need a bit of speed on it, that's where that fits into the range. And
then ladies, obviously fairly straightforward. But do you use much of it?
If it's going to be a ladies driver and it doesn't spin too much, it tends to be the 12.5 degree jacked all the way up in its loft, so as much loft as you can get on it, because inevitably sometimes ladies need a bit of extra spin to keep the ball in the air. So maybe not the best ladies product, but if you've got a lady with speed, really, really good product for that.
So there you go, there's the quick guide to the LTDx driver from Cobra. I guess the key important takeaways here are make sure you get the loft right, and obviously then use the manipulation of weight depending on the speed that you generate. So get the LS in there if you're higher speed, use the max, get that weight into the heel if you have trouble with the slice. The actual hosel is very intuitive, so it's got a little window, you can swivel it around and see what the loft settings are. Little tip for you, the little D beside the number means that it's draw, so the club head is more closed, so use that if you're slicing the ball to the right. If you like what we're doing here, please give us a like and subscribe to the channel. If you want to get more information about how we fit with stuff and how we kind of apply our fitting knowledge to the way that the clubs play, so you can make a better decision. And look, if you have any custom fitting questions, stick it in the comments below, or listen, if you want us to review something, why don't you stick that in the comments below as well, and we'll see if we can get that to the next video. Until then, we'll see you then. Thanks for watching.